Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. About 10 topics for this video. So let's start. The sooner we start, the later we end. Alright, here it is. The first one. We found out that the situation in the Ukrainian front is really desperate for NATO / Ukraine, and this is according to their own reports. And in this case, we have General Syrskyi coming over and telling us about it. Remember, these guys use euphemisms to describe when a situation is like lost. They say it's dynamic or it's tense. These are the euphemisms they use. The other one, the Russians launched some drone attack on Kyiv, and guess what? What the Ukrainians' air defense systems did? Destroyed all of them. But tomorrow we're going to find out about, 400,000 people have no electricity in, Kyiv Oblast or Kyiv region. It always happens like this. Now we find out that the person who you don't let or allow to die is not going to allow you to live. Is that one expression in Romania? So that is the same we have here Zelensky, who tells us that we don't help him enough, right? So you're not doing a good job helping Ukraine. Did you know that? All right, so that's the second topic. Third one, very surprising, this article actually. China imposes sanctions on the United States of America. I never heard this before. I know it happened, but not who these guys are going to place sanctions on what exactly. Very interesting article. Well, we're going to have the names of the North Korean generals fighting in Ukraine. Why? Because someone is going to give you some names. Is it true? Doesn't matter. All right. Now, we have a little alliance, or at least a bilateral document that's going to be signed between Hungary and Ukraine on the same time, which is all good. But then we have Peter Szijjártó, the foreign minister of Hungary, goes to Belarus and he has a little speech over there, and that's a no, because you can't do that. Why? Because I own you. Well, that's why Peter Szijjártó is like that. We find out that France gets offended if you call cognac, you refer to cognac to a drink that is not French. It's not their cognac. So you can say, well, this brandy is cognac. I feel offended. I will show you how freedom of speech is infringed in Armenia, because you can't call the Armenian brandy cognac. And the prime minister comes out, the prime minister is the guy on MI6, I think, comes out and says, don't refer to our cognac as our brandy as cognac, because the French get offended. Well, I will explain how the Romanians should tell the French, hey, you should not be around because we get offended. Actually, this is our continent. Why? We were here first. No? No. Okay, let's move on. We go to the Georgian situation, where we have a president who had French citizenship. I don't think she still has it. The Georgian president, Xi Jinping, she is the president of Georgia, but she is from France. And she claimed, because her parties lost the elections, she claimed that there was some fraud. And then we have the investigators asking her, as you would ask anybody else, okay, what's your evidence? And she's, I'm not going to tell you. Why? Because she has to call her bosses to tell her where the fraud was. Was that fraud? I think there are irregularities in any election. Nothing is perfect. I'm going to show you a map to understand where Armenia and Georgia, that's the second front these guys want to start against Russia. And if they can't, they will bring the Poles, the Romanians, the Baltic states into fighting the Russians slowly but surely. Well, I have here two articles related to the same topic, which is Argentina is owned. pimp Milei fires his foreign minister because the foreign minister did not vote the right way, which is put her pants down, bent over, and wait for it. Who's it? From where? North America. Why? Because I think he's just their boy. All right, that's another topic. Next one. Remember Joe Biden's, diving like a goalkeeper, talking, remember all those hundreds of missteps, mistakes, how should I call them, that to me proved with beyond any reasonable doubt that he is having some cognitive, the media covered for him, including the doctors evaluating him. But now we find out that actually Trump is crippled cognitively. Trump. But Biden, niet. All right, we're going to discuss that one. And we have another one. Trudeau is about to be debuckled, kicked out. He ran his cause, he ran his course. So now these guys have to bring another shit with a different face, preferably handsome. Why? You already got half of the population on your side. So Trudeau is about to go, but he doesn't want to go. This article tells me how he's going to fight and who he wants to suck real hard in order to stay in power. And that is, he's going to tell us. Not directly, but hey, because I'm a little bit crazy, I will make some inferences or deductions, inductions, conclusions. And we have this little article about Jon Steward. I never liked Jon Steward for many reasons. I don't think he was funny. I think his speech writers were very much skewed politically. I don't think he's attractive. I think by the face, he's just another Zelensky. And that's it. He's just telling us how we are supposed to think about mass deportation plan, Trump's mass deportation plan, which is Trump plan that is not going to happen. And he's going to tell us with the same thing. You remember the Italians? Remember the Irish? Oh yeah, but those were our people. No? Well, he plays for the other team, not for the American team. All right, let's go to the first article. And it's going to tell us, I think, that the situation in Ukraine is very bad. New voice of Ukraine, not very bad, we know it's bad, but in what way? I think the front is about to collapse. Russian forces continue intensive assaults on multiple fronts. You should look at this. The Russians are breaking the front, are overwhelming our defenses. We can hold as long as we can hold. Russian forces continue to launch intensive assaults on multiple fronts, utilizing their numerical superiority, that is, we need NATO to intervene militarily, in personnel and military equipment. Bring your weapons, all of them. Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, the Russian Alexander Syrskyi, said. General Syrskyi had a telephone conversation with his boss, the commander of the United States European Command, General Christopher Cavoli. That's how I call him. Why? Well, you have to report from time to time. The main topic of their discussion was the current situation on the front lines. Syrskyi noted that heavy, highly intensity battles are ongoing along the entire front line. During the conversation, the Ukrainian army chief stressed the importance of strengthening military and technical support for the armed forces of Ukraine. Syrskyi and Cavoli also exchanged views on the international community response to involvement of North Korea. That's already a given, that it's a state, it's a reality, it's a truth, it's not if. So involvement of North Korean military personnel in combat operations on the side of Russia. I tell you how you figure that out, how you solve that. Bring American troops over there, because if they do it, we can do it. If we can give Ukraine weapons, the North Koreans cannot give the Russians weapons or the Iranians, because we're equal, right? The same, it says here that the Deep State Monitoring Project reported on October 31st, which is today, the Russian forces had captured the settlements of Selidove, Vishneve, and Zoryane in Donetsk Oblast. These guys are liberating or capturing daily a village, a settlement, something, and made advances near Novokrainka, Novovodmitrivka, and Kurakivka. Meanwhile, the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine stated that the defense forces repelled assaults by Russian troops in the direction of the town of Selidove in Donetsk Oblast. They're talking about Selidove being in Donetsk by Pokrovsk. Here is Selidovo or Selidove, right there. So these guys are advancing. This is Pokrovsk. It's going to be conquered, taken over, the same as here. Look what's going on here. It's dead already. A report on US-based Institute for the Study of War, you should never trust these guys until you verify, that's a general rule, indicated that unless you build a trustworthy relationship based on evidence and verification, indicated that Russians recently advanced in Kursk Oblast, near Kupiansk, and occupied Kremina, near Chasiv Yar, as well as on the Pokrovsk and Kurakove fronts. Those are located here. So this is Pokrovsk front right here. Then you have Chasiv Yar is right here. That means these guys are advancing here. They're advancing here. And then you have the Kremina in this area. And then you have here the Kupiansk right there. So yeah, and she also said, Institute for the Study of War, said that the Russians are pushing the invaders back in Kursk Oblast. In here, Sumy Oblast, Kursk Oblast, in the east of Ukraine or northeast, right there. So I think the situation is bad and I would say worse, and it's getting worse day by day. And this is reported by the Ukrainians. Imagine this or multiply it by 3 or with 3. That's what I do. When the Ukrainians say, well, the situation is dynamic or tense or something like this, and they say it's a number 1, it's number 3 probably, as bad as it. And that's the same. When they say we advanced, 3 miles today, usually they advanced 1 mile. The Russians are multiplied by 2. So when they say, hey, we advanced, the other guys didn't do much, they just did 1, they probably did 2. And if you say we advanced 2, that means they advanced 1. The Russians that's how I got to know them, by verification. It's a general rule. It doesn't mean you don't have, special cases. So let's see what the Russians were capable of doing attacking Kyiv. According to Ukr today, the 31st of October 2024, Ukraine's air defense intercepts all Russian drones heading towards Kyiv. Air defenses and electronic warfare units neutralized all Russian kamikaze drones that targeted Kyiv. Right. So it's the 20th attack on Kyiv in October, as during the previous raids, Russia's armed forces employed unmanned aerial vehicles. Drones were heading towards Kyiv in waves from different directions. The air raid alert in the capital went off twice during this night and lasted 2.5 hours in total, the statement read. Okay, well, good for you. That means the Russians are not successful. That means the American weapons work perfectly, give us more. And buy one, get one, a premium price. So we find out here that it's not enough to help them. You have to give them everything. Tomahawk missiles request leak shows Western hesitation in support, says Ukrainian President. So the West hesitates to support Ukraine? This is what this fucker says. Now, let me tell you this. What did Ukraine receive? It received more than $200 billion. Risks war with Russia, nuclear armed power. Impose sanctions on Russia. Didn't work out. The Russians are destroying the dollar, the petrodollar. They create alternative institutions, global institutions. The BRICS organization gets bigger. That means it's going to fuck these guys up. These guys give the Ukrainians javelins, howitzers, armored vehicles, tanks, airplanes, intelligence, people, trainers, money. What else did I miss over there? What else did I miss? They gave them this, and this guy says that hesitance, long-range missiles, short-range missiles, storm shadow missiles, and that shows the hesitance because we don't give you one thing. So this is the way these people function. I told you this story many times before, and I heard it first time from Dr. William in one of his programs. He said, this is the way they are. Hey, buddy, why aren't you helping me? You don't do anything for me. And you say, what the fuck are you talking about, bitch? I gave you last year this, I gave you every month this, I give you every week, I gave you my wife, I gave you my money, I gave you everything, man. Yeah, but you didn't give me anything today. What did you do for me today? So you have to do every day like a baby, give him something to suck. These are these people. They will never let you live. Why? Because you didn't let them die. So here you have it. This guy is going to always, regardless how much you give this guy, is not going to be enough. The same after the Second World War is never enough. Never enough. Who's paying? Innocent people who have nothing to do with the Second World War. Still paying. All right, move on. Angry? A little bit. So let's move to the next one. Oh, China imposes sanctions on whom? Very important. China imposes sanctions on U.S. drone supplier to Ukraine. That is something new, and I think there's going to be more news like this coming about the Chinese hurting military-industrial complex, and that's a no-no. When the military-industrial complex, when the banks will be hurt, and the energy sector in the West, when those three things, the pillars of interest, will be, I'm not talking about the big pharma yet, when those international interests will be hurt, these guys will ask to talk to Putin. I guarantee you that. And our politicians obediently will do that. So, Skydio, right? Oh, the sky god. Oh, sorry. The largest U.S. drone manufacturer and supplier to the Ukrainian defense. Let me see where I'm at. All right. Ukrainian Defense Forces has faced a supply chain crisis after China imposed sanctions banning Chinese companies from providing critical components to the firm. I want to ask you something. Do you remember the globalization that these guys had in store for you and I? Remember that one? They said we have to be interdependent to one another. That means you make my food, I make nothing for you, I just give you paper money and zeros, and that's how I depend on everybody. We work together, like in communism. No, you don't do that. You make sure that you work on your own. You are capable of making sure that everybody in your country have opportunities. And not only you have resources, put them to work, use them. Oh, you're going to use this? Yeah. Deal with the other countries, but don't depend on them. Sometimes you can't, but generally you can. So what do we have here? We can supply the Ukrainians with the drones. Why? Because the Chinese imposed sanctions. Now, if the Chinese impose sanctions, let's say on us, on antibiotics, we're fucked. You don't remember the COVID garbage? Read about it and find out. Next one. Well, we find out now that they have the North Korean generals, and I'm going to give you some names too from my sources. So we have this guy who is the Ukrainian envoy to the United Nations. Kislitsia tells United Nations Security Council names of North Korean generals deployed for war against Ukraine. Ukraine's permanent representative to the United Nations stressed the legality of arms supplies to Ukraine, in contrast to the aid Russia is receiving from North Korea. All right, so let's see. Do they give us any names here? Because I'm going to give you my names. It goes without saying the deployment of North Korean troops to support the Russian wars against Ukraine is a gross violation of international law, including the UN Charter. He emphasized, that's great, but are they fighting over there? Oh, you say so, and we believe you. Where are the names? Right here? No? Yes? Do you see anybody? No. They already give us these names. I can verify. Right here. The envoy released their positions and names. Colonel General Kim Jong-bok, General Lee Chang-ho, Major General Shin Wen-chol. These guys, you see, they're fighting over there. Now, I'm going to give you the names of the, let's say, the American generals who are fighting in Ukraine. According to my sources, I can't name them. I can't name them. It is Tom Jones, James Brown, Elvis Presley, and who else? Mickey Mouse. All right, here they are, my friends, the generals. You can go and verify for your own, okay? And so much diversity, as you can tell. One Welsh, one African American, one, you can say it, and the other one, I don't know, fantasy, cartoon. All right, let's go to the next one. Zelensky and Budapest, they're gonna have some friendly relations. So everything good right here. Ukrainska Pravda. Kyiv and Budapest preparing bilateral document on security issues in Ukraine's NATO membership. Fantastic title, everything is good. Why? Because it's about us, and that's great. It's great when these guys are bending their knee. All right, then let's see what these guys are going to sign, right? So that will address, among other things, security issues and Ukraine's membership in NATO. Good for you. Today, bilateral documents between Ukraine and Hungary is being prepared. There are many things in order to remove misunderstandings. Excellent. Or respond to the challenges of the present, future, and past. Excellent. To the issue of minorities is so that the issue of minority is not raised, or if it is, then it is quickly resolved, so that there are no questions between our states. We are working at this very positively. Volodymyr Zelensky said, excellent, excellent. The least we can expect of Hungary is that they do not oppose Ukraine's NATO invitation. All right, good for you, my friends, good for you. Excellent. Why do you have minorities, Hungarian minorities in Ukraine? Oh, because Zakarpattia was given to you. Oh, I got, and you were formed as a country. Okay. Oh, you have Romanian minority over there? Why? Oh, because Romanian territories were given to you by Stalin. Oh, okay, to form a country. Why do you have Polish minorities in Ukraine? Oh, because part of your western Ukraine was given to you by Stalin, right? Right, to form a country. Why do you have Donbass and Crimea and you have a Russian minority over there? Oh, because that was given to you by Stalin and Khrushchev. Excellent, my friends. Now you know how Ukraine... Next. But on the other hand, they like when they talk to the Hungarians when the Hungarians are friendly. But here, Hungary's foreign minister addresses Minsk Security Conference in Russian. Oh my God, that's a crime. And we have the bold guy, not bold, with the balls, Peter Szijjártó, who I like a lot, foreign minister of Hungary. Unlike the Romanian blah 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 blah, makes me vomit. Hungarian foreign minister Peter Szijjártó has addressed the Minsk conference on Eurasian security in Belarus in Russian. Oy vey, man, he is not allowed to speak Russians. No. Only English and Yiddish, if possible. All right, a video shared on social media, as reported by European Pravda. Szijjártó specifically expressed his gratitude to the organizers for the invitation, describing it as a great honor to be present in Minsk. Oh, so you're not allowed? Thank you for the opportunity to present Hungary's stance on global security. Fantastic, what's wrong with that? Well, you know, you have some paranoids. Szijjártó was joined in Minsk by his Russian and Syrian counterpart Sergei Lavrov and Bassam al-Sabag. All right, so it's illegal to speak Russian, but when you go to, let's say, when you see all these slavish American presidents going to Israel, for instance, I'm just giving you Israel as an example, because they don't do it anywhere else. They go with a little thing over there in front of the Wailing Wall, and they pretend to be pious and bend the knee. That's all. That's how you respect a country. But here, no. Why? Because we're told those guys are bad, and you have to think that way. And if you don't think that way, you have to pretend you think that way. But we live in the Western world, the free world. Let me breathe a little bit, because I'm getting too... Anyway, let's go to these guys. Again, the free world for you. Ex-Soviet state bans to France over cognac, according to Russia Today. Armenian Prime Minister, which I think he's on an MI6 asset, I will say. I have no evidence, but his actions and statements, which show me that he would suck dick every day on that area. So Mr. Nikol Pashinyan has stressed that his country actually produces brandy, Cognac, calling Armenia's flagship alcoholic drink cognac is, quote-unquote, disrespectful to France and could jeopardize the country's trade with the EU, Prime Minister has said. Instead, he urged citizens to refer to the drink as brandy, even in their own homes. And let me read you this imbecile's statement. Is that? No, this is a... Let me see. Armenian cognac was a well-established brand during Soviet times, much like Soviet champagne, with both beverages popular through the Soviet republics. The tradition of calling certain types of brandy cognac is still prevalent in CIS countries, regardless of the place of production, including Dagestan cognac produced by the Papapap. In the EU, cognac is a protected geographical name. There it is. In accordance with French legislation, it stipulates that only a strong alcoholic drink produced in the cognac commune of the Charente department in southwestern France can officially bear the name. But can I use it? Cognac is an intangible asset of France. Very good. This guy lectured his people. Pashinyan said in a government meeting, we should not say Armenian cognac, even at home. Appropriating someone else's intangible assets is disrespectful. Well, so this guy is just, is he the, hey, can you call whatever you want? If I want to see a car and I call a car a bicycle, or I see a Ford car and I call it a Chevrolet, let's say, or GM made, is it illegal? Disrespectful? Fuck you, man. What's going on? And now I'm going to give it to the French. I have something to say to the French. The French consider Romanians gypsies. Now, that's for the Romanians, that's a derogatory term. I'm not going to go into it, but it's derogatory. And the Romanian football players were considered, gypsies, and they were called names like you would call, things. But I say, okay, well, we don't like that, but nevertheless. Now, let me tell you the French people. And I'm not having something with the French nation here. But have a little bit of more respect, because if this guy thinks that it's disrespectful to call your cognac, our brandy, your cognac, before we said, I'm going to make a Xerox, that is, I'm going to make a copy. Xerox is the company that makes copies, copy machines and so on, but in Romania we call it Xerox, even though we use, let's say, Canon, the Japanese company. I'm going to make a Xerox. That means I'm going to make a copy and I'm going to use a Canon. So that means the Japanese, or I know, should be upset about it, feel what's going on here, and vice versa. That's imbecilic. Okay, now if we are about to go that way, I think the Thracians were way before the Germanic tribes of the Franks in Europe. No? Okay, all right. Just check. So then, should we be upset about it when you say that, hey, we are this and that? I mean, how imbecilic. Should we say that, hey, Romania has more Latin words than you have? We're closer to Latin than you are? So that means you're just below us? I mean, what the fuck is this? But the French can say, you know what, I can demand, I can ask for that. That's fine, but this is the Prime Minister of Georgia. Why is he on the payroll of these guys in the West? I think it's because NATO wants to open and want to take over of the Caucasus, then right in the ribs of Soviet Union, right? Russia in this case. I'm just kidding. Russia is not the Soviet Union, as Ukraine was not the Soviet Union. We're part of them. All right, so let's go to the next article. I'm going to show you the Georgia situation. Here it is, Russia Today. Georgian president refuses to back up election theft claims. Shalom Zorbichivi has accused the ruling party of rigging Saturday's parliamentary vote. Okay, and then we have this. Russia Today, investigators demand Georgian president proves election fraud claim. Shalom Zourabichvili has been asked to back up her allegations that the vote was stolen, quote-unquote, from the opposition. Now, as I said, she has something to do with French Republic, and she somehow just got to be president of France. Of Georgia. Just like that. Like you have Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, like you have Klaus Iohannis, the president of Romania, as you're probably going to have Rahm Emanuel, the president of United States of America, even though I don't know if he was born in the US or not. I know he fought for the Israelis military when there was a little problem over there, so he enlisted to fight for a different country, and he's the US ambassador to Japan. He was Obama's chief of staff at one point, White House chief of staff. He was the mayor of Chicago one term. You will hear more from this guy, Rahm Emanuel. Remember that name. So yeah, they can do it, but somehow in Israel, for instance, you can have, I don't know, Mahmoud Abbas being the president, or I don't know, the chief of Mossad being, I don't know, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad or something. No, you can't have that. You have to have the Itzik, Strul, and all those guys. The Romanians know exactly what I meant by that. All right, so let's move on. Let me show you this beautiful map. See over there? These are the Caucasus. So NATO wants Georgia and Armenia. They can't have Azerbaijan or these guys here. Armenia, in order to get Armenia, you need Georgia because you got Turkey. Turkey and Armenia, they have a little genocide over there. And then you have Iran here, and it's not going to join Armenia. Azerbaijan is not going to join Armenia. So Armenia is a landlocked country. Without Georgia, you can have the access from the Black Sea. Turks could help through Georgia, but not directly. But it's not impossible. Erdogan is an opportunistic and he can do whatever. And he's not going to be forever in charge. That's another one. So these guys tried to take over Georgia in order to take over Armenia. So this prime minister is right here. The guy with the brandy and so on. Let's move on. Next one. Argentina's president, the pimp Milei, fires his foreign minister after vote in favor of ending U.S. embargo on Cuba. And you have here from Russia Today, Argentine foreign minister fired over Cuba vote. Diana Mondino voted in favor of ending the U.S. embargo against the island nation. This is in the United Nations General Assembly. Argentine President Javier Milei has fired Foreign Affairs Minister Diana Mondino after she supported a resolution to lift the U.S. embargo on Cuba at the United Nations General Assembly. Well, that would not have happened anyway, but just so you know who's who and what's what. I said this for a long time. Milei is the North Americans' badge. He's the pimp. Why is he the pimp? Because he takes Argentina as a good pimp that he is, right? Bends her over, takes her pants down, takes the skirt or the dress up, okay, pulls the underwear to the side, the tongues, or maybe drop it down and say, let's go to the States of America and whomever want because I'm her pimp. And you, baby doll, you make sure you give me the money. Go. That's how it is. I hope Argentina is doing well after all this, thing, but I don't think it's going to end well. You, my Argentinians, you are going to be owned. I guarantee you that. I've seen that in Romania, by the way. So, well, it doesn't have to be like that. I said Milei will end up either putting his repressive forces shooting at the Argentinian demonstrators, or the military will overthrow him. And then the Americans will come over with CIA and they will say, oh, we just found out that Argentina is violating certain human rights to whatever fucking group over there. All of a sudden, the next day. So easy. Next one. Let's see how Trump is crippled cognitively, but Biden is not. This is according to these imbeciles from HuffPost. And swing state newspaper slams Trump. Crippled cognitively with clear signs of mental illness. Wasn't it clear that Joe Biden had some cognitive? I think it was clear. But my problem was not with the guys who had to cover for him, but with the, come here, baby doll, but with the doctors who, when they checked him, medically checked him, they said over and over again that he's a, how they call, a robust octogenary, and he continues to be fit to serve office. Got it? Those guys, their license, practice license should be removed, and they should be probably put in jail for these false statements, because we can see that, and you tell me that no? But these guys immediately talk about Trump. Now, I don't think Trump is the same guy that was, 5 years ago or 6 years ago, as I don't think you are not the same guy you were yesterday or the day before. Things change. Up and down, they change. But with time, certain things get better, certain things get not that good. And at that age, you can have an accelerate, decrease of abilities. I think Trump, I listened to him, he's not the same guy either, not only in his energy, but in his message. He's not the same guy from 2016 whatsoever. What happened? Did they tame you? Maybe, because we don't know what's behind all this. He faces possibly years in prison and die in prison. He faces his family being eventually incarcerated with an arrest warrant and put on trial for whatever they said or whatever they did. They will tell us. So I think he's tamed. He's not much different than Kamala. He is smarter, definitely, and big balls. He's just okay, but that's what I see, how I see it. The problem is Trump is not the same guy, and if he's going to be voted in the office, he will not do anything special. I guarantee you that. He didn't do it the first time when he was more of a lion than right now. You'll see. First, if he's allowed to go around. If Kamala is around and she's going to be voted, then she's going to do the same garbage. If he's going to be over there, he's going to be a little bit like 90% of the same garbage. He's not going to do anything. Mass deportations and the wall. And he had the power to write executive orders in the first terms. He didn't do it. He didn't cancel Obama's executive orders. He didn't do it. What does that tell you? So don't tell me now, the first day I will do this. That train or that ship sailed a long time ago. For me, at least. Let's move on. Trudeau calls doubled efforts to support Ukraine. So that tells you he works for the bankers and the military-industrial complex. There you go. So he is like a guy or like a person who reverts at the same methods in keeping his job, which is sucking a lot of it, or pants down, bent over, and take it deep and hard. This is what he's saying, I can do it harder. Please do it. No, they will remove you. So he's doubling the sale of your country. So bankers, I will give you more. Hey guys, a military industrial complex, I will give you more. Everybody, just let me be in. No, your time expired. You shouldn't have been over there in the first place. You should have been somewhere at maybe 5th grade level, teaching certain kind of dance. And that's about it. That's the level of Trudeau. With a skirt on, with a tutu. That's how Trudeau should have been. But he was the prime minister. And this is democracy. Yeah, democratic ways. But in the democratic ways, we have a baboon, Biden. We have another baboon, Trudeau. You have Scholz, baboon. You have the prime ministers of Great Britain, baboons. Remember, what's her name? She was the foreign minister. What the hell was her name? And nevertheless, get Sunak, it's enough. You get Sunak and Starmer, the same baboons. Who else? Macron is not a baboon. That's not a baboon, but he's a sleaze, that's for sure. But you have the evil guys, which are whom? Putin, oh my God, that's not good. You got Orban, oh, that's not good whatsoever. Xi Jinping, oh no, these are the bad dudes. Let's move on. Trudeau, will sell you more. He wants to double efforts. He knows. Remember, I said this in another video before, maybe once or twice, when I said in the United Kingdom, in Great Britain, in order to get a position of power, you have to prostitute yourself in telling certain interests that you're going to give them orders. Not to give them orders, like, yeah, we're gonna need about, 2 aircraft carriers. That's an order for you. You're gonna build it. So, orders to work. So these guys were promising we're gonna work, even we should strike Russia. Remember, even that Boris Johnson, the same thing. He promised over and over and over again. He tried to get his job back, and he is probably, because he did the same thing as this piece of. Anyway, let's go to the next one, which is Jonathan Steward. And what's his name? His name is not Steward. I mean, his new name is like I'm right now. My name is, remember, I don't know if you do that, when you call after 5 to get something fixed on your telephone or your computer or something, and you find, Wilhelm answering the phone and he has a Indian accent, or George, or I don't know, some Germanic names, and you're like, from now on, I want you to refer to me to Wilhelm Hohenzollern, von Hohenzollern, because I'm Deutsch, I'm German, Jesus Christ. Anyway, instead of saying, yeah, man, my name is Izabaga Zuba, okay, what's wrong with that? I can hear you. I know you're not Wilhelm. So here we have Jonathan Steward. Go and, I think he's Braditsky. Anyway, he can call himself however he wants. I can call him however I want. The same is true for me. You can call me however I allow you that. So Jon Steward decimates Trump mass deportation plan, notes Irish and Italians were once not American enough. These people are using the same lousy arguments to make us get people that were not supposed to be here. Who are those guys? People that, some illegals, some people with crimes, and so on. There are some people like that allowed in this country because they can cross the border. They can cross the border. I have no problem with, an unhealthy immigration policy, but I'm sick of these people, these guys, telling us how to think about and what to think about certain subjects that matter more to us. They changed our lingo. They change our way we interact. They change our lives. They change the way we're supposed to look at certain issues related to our own interest. We're supposed to hate ourselves. We're supposed to look down on us, feel guilty for something we haven't done, and so on. Why? So they can do what they do as Jon Steward. So he wants what? No. If someone crosses on my property, this is not my property, but let's say on my property, and I tell that baboon, get out, and he doesn't, I get the fucker out in no time, okay? I will force that guy to get the hell out of my property that belongs to me, not you're illegally trespassing, all right? And if you're here and I find you somewhere under the deck, I will deport you. Get the fuck out, and he's gonna get out. I guarantee you that. Now, Jon Steward tells us that these people that are like that crossed on my property, I can't get them out. Yeah, I can. It's legal to do that. We should, if we respect our constitution and the laws of our country. Our country doesn't belong to everybody else until you become legal. That means with papers. Okay, papers. We can have all kinds of papers. You go to the toilet and use the paper. All right, my friends, here it is. Jon Steward, never been a fan of this guy, and I dislike when it's dangerous when you have this kind of people like Bill Maher and others like Jon Steward, like these guys, making the intelligent arguments for the baboons and saying, yeah, how about the Italians? The Italians were our people. You know what I mean? The Irish were our people. It was not, the people from, let's find a country in a certain way that we don't get too obvious here. Not people from, Indonesia who settled on this continent. They're not people from Indonesia who formed the American colonies and then the United States of America. They were not them. It was a certain people. If you don't believe me, go and read the Declaration of Independence. Go and see who signed it. Yeah, slave owners. Shame on you. The same guys. Who says that? Yeah, they were slave owners. Fuck you. Who wasn't then? I'm not, again, I have to say this because of YouTube. And obviously, I don't believe in slavery, or that's imbecilic, to even believe in that, someone owning another human being. But that's the reality for 99.9% of our history of humankind was bad. So now to go back and retroactively punish those guys for certain things that they were illegal at that time and bash them based on your current values, everyone would be guilty. Everyone would be guilty. You can make a law right now that, wearing this kind of clothes is illegal. Wasn't today, but maybe it's tomorrow. So am I a bad person? According to these baboons, yes, you are a bad person. So again, Jon Steward is not our he doesn't support us, which is the United States of America, I think. But hey, that's a strong statement. Not at all. Not at all. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.